All right, traders, it is time to identify the key levels to be trading at into this week and to create the trading plans to trade the best setups at the best prices. We're going to be going over the best prices to be buying calls and the best prices to be buying put options, when to be long biased, when to be short biased, how to create a trading plan, what key levels to be trading at, where to get in, where to set your stop loss, where to set your profit targets. Let's get straight into the analysis. So in terms of the SPY has a gap to fill above at $399.40, as you can see right here. It's also towards a key hole around $400 resistance, right? With that being said, what I want you to understand about the SPY is this right now. In terms of the overall price action analysis, there was previous resistance at $393.50. Once it reacted as a resistance level, it had a massive sell-off. Well, as you know, if SPY breaks above resistance, pullbacks and bottoms at that previous resistance level and turns it into higher support, instead of having a big move to the downside, it's going to have a big move to the upside, which is surely enough what it has been doing at that $393.50 level, which was the best level in the last two videos ago, where I said if you wanted to buy the dip, get in towards 393, which was the exact bottom. I also stated 397 reacts as a resistance, play the puts. It reacted as a resistance multiple times. I made a 25% return scalping the puts. I also said the true best level for puts is when the gap at 399.40 fills. And for those of you who are in Trader Society, you are well aware I made one more trade that day and it was into the close where I actually ended up scalping put options. Once the SPY dropped from partially filling that gap at 399.40, it hit 399.10, started breaking down. The puts went from out of the money to back in the money very, very quickly. When it started forming lower highs right here, turning this previous support into a lower high resistance with a bearish gravestone doji at our key level, I played puts right here and made a 35% return on those puts in 3 single minutes. That was my second win on the day for Friday, all using the gap trading strategies. The trading plan was 100% spot on, 100% accuracy. With that being said, in terms of where we're at right now, and the point I was making is we are towards the top of the channel. You know, this channel right here is at 398.50. 398.50 to 399.40 is the top of the zone. The SPY has already rejected and faked out twice, technically 3 times in the past 2 days at this zone. But what you need to understand is that previous resistance is still reacting as support. And it may be rejecting at the top of the zone, but it's trying to form higher support and it's really trying to break out. So it's make or break. So here's the deal. For this to continue to run and for the bulls to actually take control of the higher end of the channel, they need to turn this previous 398.50 resistance into a support level. So they need to hold above 398.50, they need to turn that into a support level, and they need to break above 399.40 and send it above $400. That's what the bulls need to do. If the SPY continues to react as a resistance level in between the zone of 399.40, which is the best level for the puts partial gap close reversal, and if it cracks below, goes green to red, cracks below 398.50, or say it gaps down and it pops back up to 398.50 and that reacts as a resistance level like we saw. So, you know, let's say it gaps down and then it shoots back up to fill the gap above like 398.50, just like on 397, right? Reacts as a resistance. That's going to be a great scalping opportunity for puts. If it gaps up and hits 398.50, goes green to red, reacts as resistance, that's a scalping opportunity for puts as well, right? So it's truly make or break here. It's truly make or break. What the bulls need to do here to continue to run is they need to break above the top end of this channel and turn it into a support level. If they cannot do it, it's going to get ugly for the short term being, right? So in terms of targets, right? 399.40 is the best level for puts, and I'm still looking for a gap close reversal because that gap has not been filled yet. I've been playing a lot of partial gap close reversals, which is fine if you're using strong confirmations and you're getting in very, very close to the gap and it's towards an overbought high end of the channel like we are right now, and in terms of calls, an oversold lower end of the channel, right? You don't want to do partial gap close reversals in between the charts. You want to do them at the best prices possible towards lower and high end of channels, towards overbought and oversold channels on daily as well, not just weekly charts. Now, with that being said, it's make or break, guys. It's make or break. So as a sniper, as a scalper, if I see 398.50 react as a resistance, goes green to red, I'll look to scalp puts. If I see 399.40 react as a resistance, I'll look to scalp puts. Now, how much am I going to be aiming for if I do scalp puts? So if I scalp puts at 399.40, my target is at 398.50. Once it hits 398.50, I have to reuse the strategy. I have to reuse it. I have to wait for confirmation. So it's an automatic exit, right? So that's a potential $1.40 drop from 399.40 to 398.50. Now, if 398.50 cracks and reacts as a resistance, then what I'll be looking to do is I'll be looking to scale out on that right here at $397. So this is another key make or break level, is this 397. Look at this. A massive crash triggered in the pre-market on Friday. Once the SPY went below 397, it sold off very, very hard to 393, back to that previous resistance, right? So this 397, I want you to think of this as make or break support. If it reacts to support, they're going to try to continue to break out, form higher support, push above the channel to fill the gap 399.40 to rush above $400. If 397 cracks and reacts as a resistance, then the bulls are going to take a hit and it's going to start to drop back to 393.50. So those are our overall key levels. Our key levels are 397, which is the make or break in terms of another big move coming that could react to support or resistance. 397. 398.50, the previous closing price, and 399.40. So just to understand the purpose of the levels, right? So we're towards the higher end of the channel. 399.40, look for a gap close reversal, look for a bearish reaction. If it does react bearish, then it drops to 398.50. If 398.50 reacts bearish, whether it gaps up or gaps down, then it's going to drop to about 397. So those are your two profit targets and your two entries, right? If it reacts bearish. Now, in terms of 397, this is make or break. If we hit 397, man, the bulls need to show up and they need to turn it into support. If it turns it into a support level, then the bulls are going to try very, very hard to break above $400. If it breaks down, reacts as a resistance levels, then the bears are going to try very, very hard to retest this previous resistance level, right? So you can use that information on how you want to use it in terms of how I trade my key levels. I always focus on puts at the higher levels and calls at the lower levels, right? Now, in terms of my puts, I'm not too interested in puts at 397, nor am I interested in calls at 397. This is just something I'm going to be watching because a big move can occur at 397 along with our higher levels as well. That's just something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. It's not the best setup at the best price. The gap has already filled, so the strategy is no longer going to be correlated with that. It's basic price action, basic support and resistance. What you need to focus on is trading the best setups at the best prices. The new key levels for that are 399.40 and 398.50, right? And that's where we're overall, in terms of the SPY and within the market. You just have to understand, like if 397 cracks, reacts as a resistance, we're on track to go to 393, and then they're going to try to crack 393. Bears will try to step in, right? So you don't want to be holding calls if that reacts as a resistance, and you don't want to be holding puts if it reacts as support, right? So just understand the risk involved. Understand the moves that can happen. It's showing you right here the moves that are going to happen right here. History tends to repeat itself. So just study the reactions. If it reacts as a floor, instead of this big downside move, it has a big upside move to try to break out and fill the gap, right? So just understand that and take advantage of the information that I'm sharing with you. You should be using very, very tight mental stops at these key levels, not risking a lot. So basically, if SPY goes about $1 against me, I get stopped out basically. The most I really risk in terms of the option trades that I'm taking is like a 1-point move against me on the SPY. And then I look to aim for about 1 to 2 points, sometimes a little bit more, it depends, but they're quick scalps, man. 15 to 20 minute super quick scalps with an extremely high win rate using the gap trading strategies. So yeah, those are the levels that I'm planning to snipe, and it's going to be our jobs as traders to identify if they're reacting as a resistance level or reacting as a support level. If a higher level breaks out and reacts as a support, that does not mean that I buy it because it's not the best setup at the best prices. I'll typically just sit on the sidelines. If a lower level reacts as a resistance, reacts bearish, that doesn't mean that I'm going to buy puts and short it. I'll typically sit on the sidelines. If I do any of that outside of the best setups, the best prices trading, then it's just a small position and it's nothing that has led to my true success. The gap trading strategies with the proper reactions that we're looking for is what is leading to my success. All of the gap strategies that I've traded in terms of 2023 so far, there has not been one single loss when I've traded the gap strategy. When I did not trade the gap trading strategy and I was sizing in small, back testing different strategies with just price action, Lots of losses. So just keep that in mind, man. In terms of year to date so far, I'm up a little bit over 15K heading into 2023, and I'm going to continue to focus on trading the best setups at the best prices and cut out all the other noise, guys. With that being said, let's make it a good week. In terms of upside potential, if this were to break above 399.40 and turn that into a floor, we would go to 400. If it breaks above 400, the next level we're going to really go to would be 405, which would be the next best level for puts, right? So those are the key things that you really, truly need to understand. Say the SPY were to flip super bearish into this week. One of the key levels where I would be buying if it flips super bearish was at this 384 to 386. That would be a key dip buying zone, right? So if it goes super bullish, 405 for puts. If it goes super bearish, 384 to 386 for calls. Not the best setups at the best prices, basic support and resistance. In terms of best setups at best prices, 398.50 and 399.40. Those are the best levels. 397 is not a key level, but it is a level where a move is going to occur and it's worth watching, but it's not the best setup at the best price because the gap has already filled. With that being said, if you do want to take advantage and join Trader Society, all of the information is down below. It's going to be that first link down below in the description. You can get started trading live with us every single day. Every single trade in terms of when I'm trading the best setups at the best prices, not only do I alert them, but I alert them with a live stream. So you get to watch me trade those best setups at the best prices live. That's when I'm trading the actual best setups at the best prices, right? So what I do is I set my price alert, I create my trading plan. When my price alert triggers, I start up the live stream. And then that's when people get to see me actually see if I'm going to trade this live or not. If I get confirmation on stream, then I'll enter the trade live like I did on Friday, right? We're instilling a practice where we're trading the best setups at the best prices only using this method of, price alerts, live streaming, etc. With that being said, all the information is down below if you want to check it out. I will see you guys tomorrow live.